Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of the SMCast. My name is SM22, and, today is a very good day. I really am enjoying myself today. I hope you guys are having a good day yourselves. Please let me know if you are having a terrible day. Who knows, maybe I might be able to help you with this. Anyway, welcome to the SMCast, the bi-weekly podcast where we just talk about random stuff and talking about certain things. We'll cover your questions if anything is necessary. This episode is recorded 2 weeks in advance, so I apologize if I talk about stuff that's kind of a little bit out of date. But the last few episodes and the next few episodes, those are all pre-recorded, so there we go. Anyway, today's episode, we are going to be talking about burnout. And if you guys don't know what burnout is, it's when you get overworked. It's as if you fall out of it a little bit. For example, if you play the same game over and over and over, and then you play its sequel over and over and over, and then the very next year, the third game in the franchise comes out, if you don't enjoy it, it's probably because of burnout. Yes, you loved the first 2 games, but you played them so much that when you saw the third game, you were uninterested. You were burnt out from the series just because of overexposure. Now, in July, myself, I have been dealing with burnout when it comes to making content and streaming and making videos and editing, and I haven't gotten the time to really do any of that. And that's mostly because of burnout, because the first few weeks of June and maybe like the first half of the first week of July, I was trying to balance a bunch of family issues with a bunch of work issues, with trying to balance YouTube on top of all of that. And it came to a point where I had to stop one of them, and YouTube was the one that took the least priority. Now, that's not saying I don't like doing YouTube. That's not saying it's not important to me. It's just, it's not a career. It's a hobby. And when push comes to shove, you kind of have to push your hobbies a little bit out of the way. So I apologize for being kind of out of it during July, but we're coming back around this time. I'm going back into school in a couple weeks at the time of this recording, and it's going to be pretty good because I know exactly what I'm going to be doing. I know what I'm going to be studying in. I have a concrete idea of what I want to go into in the future, and although I'm not taking any classes for that now, I am focusing on pushing other things forward. Anyway, burnout. So, people have felt burnout all the time. People feel it all the time. I get people talking to me all the time saying, like, I haven't made content in a long time, I've been feeling really burnt out, or, just dealing with burnout is very hard, it's very difficult. Jaden Animations made a video on dealing with burnout, so if I reference that a couple times, that's why. But, so, when you're just overworking yourself, it's a little too complicated to keep working on multiple things at once. So the first thing that I say don't do that. Don't work on too much stuff at once. If you have a job and you start having issues with other parts of your life, like let's say you have your career, and then you have YouTube, and then you have your family. If one of those 3 pillars starts falling down a little bit, then you have to cut off one of the pillars, just for a time. Now, family, you can't really cut that off, because family is important. You can't live without your family, so never cut that off. Your career, well, you gotta get the money somehow, which means that your hobby, or in my case, YouTube, that pillar has to fall. And unfortunately, that's kind of how burnout starts. But what you can do is, before the issue even arises, make it possible for you to not be working on it, but still have it coming out. For example, if you are a YouTuber and you feel as if there is a possibility that you can have a time where you're not working on videos, pre-record videos, pre-edit videos, have videos ready to go. Personally, I don't really do that too much. I am doing it with this podcast, but I've never really been too much into doing pre-recorded stuff. Like, I do record things, pre-record things. If I ever do a recording session, I record 1 to 2 episodes. Most of the time, I never have the time to record for more than like an hour at a time, and unfortunately, that's my downfall right here. But I try my best. But if you do have the opportunity, make sure you pre-record, just in case one of your pillars of life starts to have trouble. That way, you can kind of stop building on one pillar, yet it's still being built up. Like, just have stuff ready to go. And if your hobby is exercise, unfortunately, you really can't do that all too much. But what you can do is you can have exercise ways at home. Like, if you like going to the gym so often, but you feel as if you're spending too much time away from your kids, for example, get an elliptical at home. Get one of the little escalator thingies at home. Get a treadmill. Get that. Dumbbells, anything. Or even build a gym in your home out of one of the rooms. And that's probably something that you can do that makes you feel better because, hey, you're here with your family, but you're still doing your hobby, but you're also able to be there. So if a kid gets hurt or something, pause the treadmill, go out, deal with the kid, come back, and keep going where you left off. Now, if you were going to the gym, you really couldn't do that because as soon as you came home from after the gym, you probably wouldn't be able to go back. It would take too much time to go back and do something just in case the kids have another problem. Now, you can do that with most hobbies. You can do that with almost any hobby. So just find ways to keep it going even when other parts of life have problems, and that's a way to deal with burnout, because that way you don't do it so much that eventually you just stop for a while and don't feel like it. You would want to come back in the end. If you're making videos 5 days a week and you're also working, and then your family starts having issues, and your family starts, like, just not like issues like no fighting between the family or anything, but like, I mean, like, just family financial problems, family like, ooh, we have some stuff to deal with, and we have to do it as a family. It's very complicated. So doing so many videos, so many streams at once, while at the same time trying to balance all that, it does burn you out a bit, because you're like, wow, why can't I just have a rest? And I get it that nothing's ever going to be perfect. It's going to keep coming back. But now I know that I have to have stuff pre-ready to go just for whatever reason. I just have to be ready to go at any given time. And if I'm not ready to go, then that's on me. And that's my fault. And from here on out, I'm going to have stuff pre-recorded. I'm going to have stuff pre-edited. I'm going to have streams ready to go if ever necessary. I'm going to do more premieres. That way you guys can talk to me in real time, while also me not having to actually sit down and stream if not possible. Because most of the time, streaming is probably the hardest thing to do, because with a video, you can have it done weeks in advance. But with a stream, you have to be there live. You have to be there at the moment that is going. And unfortunately, that's not always too possible to do. So, moving forward from there is probably the best thing we can hope to do. And, there's really no other way that we can move forward unless, we prepare to move backwards. And, that's pretty much what I'm trying to say here. And it is kind of complicated. I understand it is kind of complicated, but no, nothing too big. So, yeah, so, like, let me just give you guys my recap on how I've been dealing with burnout. First of all, I did get burnt out around 4th of July, because 4th of July is a very busy time of year for myself and for my work stuff and for everything else. And I just kind of fell off the horse a little bit, and it took me a long time to get back on, because I had a lot of homework to do, and I still do. I still have a lot of homework to do, but I've been doing something that I've never really done before. I've been utilizing my morning for the last month. I've been waking up no later than like 8 a.m. I tend to wake up around 7:30, right? I lay in my bed for a little bit, watch some videos, play some games, do whatever, until around 8-ish, and then I get up at 8, and I work on homework. Now, what I do is I give myself the luxury of, hey, I get to goof off for a little bit before I really get up from 7:30 to 8, and at that point, I think my day's already been going so well that when I sit down to do homework, I'm not really too complaining to myself about it. Now, that won't work with all kids. I guarantee you that if you have kids of your own, that it might not work for you, because it has to be kind of up to the kid to do that themselves. But it's actually been very helpful, and I will do some future podcast episodes where I go into detail about how you can use your morning. But it's been a good way to give myself the extra time to do homework, and then from there I can go into other stuff that I enjoy. And the last week or so, I've been doing more YouTube stuff. I've been getting back into it, because for the last 3 weeks I was publishing maybe 1 to 2 videos a week. Now, that's not bad. It's not bad. But that was the lowest that it's been for a while. For example, my analytics for July of 2019, I have gained maybe 3 or 4 subs at the time of July 23rd. And views and watch time, those are all down. Very much down. And that's kind of my fault. It's probably because I haven't been working on it. So if there's no videos coming out, there's no people watching them, there's no new people watching them, so those people aren't subscribing. So it's kind of it's a vicious cycle, but it works, and it makes sense. Luckily it makes sense, which means when I'm coming back, if it starts to go up a little bit, which makes me feel better about myself, which makes me feel like, oh, now I know what I'm doing, and now I can take advantage of it, and I can be real about it. So that's pretty much that's been my life story for the last few weeks, and I'm doing okay. I'm doing better now. I'm getting into a point where now I'm feeling better. I'm getting everything going. Family stuff is all taken care of. Work stuff is still going strong, but slowing down. I'm earning those monies, and luckily, I'm probably still having the best time of my life when I am doing this. I started this podcast specifically because I wanted a chance to vent about certain things, to rant about certain things, to talk with you guys about things, and still have it be a professional kind of format. And I really do enjoy this. This is actually very very relaxing, sitting here and talking and doing the podcast. This is only episode 2, but I'm feeling very relaxed doing this, and I feel like I probably should have started the podcast a long time ago. But the reason that this podcast is bi-weekly is because I've been so inconsistent. Eventually it may become weekly. I don't know. I'm really enjoying the bi-weekly thing, because that makes it each episode coming out is an event. Each episode coming out is a story to be told, I guess. And it's really nice. It actually is very nice to be able to just sit, kick back, relax, and talk for not even too long, because I've been seeing podcast episodes that are underneath 30 minutes now, and I always thought, a podcast has to be an hour and a half, and luckily I have around the time to make 30-40 minute podcast episodes, and I've been seeing that people tend to watch 30-40 minute podcasts. So I'm getting all those YouTube, well, not YouTube money, I'm not monetized, but still all those YouTube views, and I don't know, who knows. But so just coming back is very difficult, and I'm gonna bring up a story. Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys a quick little story. It's about little Timmy. Okay, little Timmy was working his 9 to 5 at the grocery store. He was 10 years old. Okay, he was a cashier or a checker at the grocery store. Okay, he was Walmart. Is Walmart even a grocery store? I don't know. If Walmart accepts EBT, then it is a grocery store. Well, he worked at Walmart. Okay, he was a checker at Walmart. and he had a family, right? And he also made YouTube videos, right? And little Timmy made Call of Duty World War II YouTube videos, okay? And he got a lot of subscribers from it, and he liked all of his subscribers, except for one subscriber, okay? There's one subscriber, was named Sparks, and nobody liked this subscriber, okay? But little Timmy still liked all the views and stuff that he was getting. He had around, like, 2,000 subscribers at this time, right? And then his cousin Vinny just rolled up into town one day, right? Took his computer and just threw it on the ground, right? What would little Timmy do in this situation? Little Timmy would do whatever you would do in this situation. So imagine you were little Timmy. What would little Timmy have done? Would little Timmy have possibly done anything too big? Would little Timmy have attacked somebody? Would little Timmy have been something very not good? I don't know. But little Timmy was feeling burnt out already. So maybe little Timmy just went with it. Maybe little Timmy just decided that, hey, I don't want to be doing everything that I've been doing recently because it's very hard. And that's where I'm trying to get at here. I don't know why I'm telling this story. I'm just trying to stall for time. But just put yourself into little Timmy's shoes, okay? And imagine Cousin Vinny is life. Life comes and it hits you out of nowhere and it throws you for a loop. And unfortunately, this is just a part of life. You just have to kind of roll with the punches. Now, I'm not super experienced when it comes to life. I am only 16, but I feel like I know enough to say that just life in general isn't kind. Life in general isn't nice. It's not nice to you. It'll never be nice to you. And that's something that everyone just has to kind of deal with in life, unfortunately. And it's really cool to see people like take it in stride. For example, people who work all day long, like 3 or 4 jobs, just to provide for their family. Those people are probably some of the most deserving people in the world, but they take it with stride. They take their work ethic with stride because they know that, hey, I'm doing this for my family. And unfortunately, burnout comes when you're doing stuff for other people as opposed to yourself. Because think about it. If you were doing something exclusively for yourself, imagine you were doing construction, okay? And you were the most loving person of construction ever. Like, you loved every single building that you had ever built. And you thought that you were the best construction worker ever. And you were just providing for yourself. If you all of a sudden gained a family and had to work longer just to provide for them, would you eventually get burned out? And unfortunately, the answer is probably yes. Eventually, you'll say like, damn, I'm getting sick of building all these buildings. I'm sick of providing for my family. Okay, that's just kidding. Always provide for your family. Whatever. But still, eventually, you're doing something for someone else because before you were doing construction because you liked it and because you didn't have any responsibilities when it came to outside of that field. But now you do. And that's where it comes and goes in terms of being the best you can be and not being the best you can be, I guess. I don't know how to explain it, but it's very, very easy to get burnt out when you're doing something that's not for yourself. And unfortunately, that's the truth. And when you're doing something, because when you're doing something for yourself, you're doing it because you enjoy it. You're doing it because, wow, I really like this thing. I would like to keep doing this, please. But if you're doing something for someone else, you're like, whoa, this other person is kind of mooching off of me. Now, with family, that's not necessarily true, because you have to provide for your family no matter what. But when it comes to, like, friends and stuff, yes, you do love your friends. But if you're doing stuff too often for other people, and you're not getting any compensation for it. For example, if you have a friend, right, and he's a YouTuber, you're a YouTuber, you're doing commissions for him, he keeps saying he'll pay you, he never does. You do like 25 projects for him, and he never pays you. Eventually, you're going to say, wow, I don't want to be an artist no more because of this one person who's kind of bringing you down a little bit. That's not always true in every case, but I have seen a lot of cases where stuff like that happens because just you don't like feeling as if you're being taken advantage of. And a lot of people like taking advantage of others in this world, unfortunately. And this is just the world that we live in, and this is just the world that we kind of have to be with and learn from. Now, it's not good to give up on something just because of other people, but I can see where it happens, and I know that it does happen pretty often, actually. So I'm just gonna say that do stuff thinking that these people are your family, and try not to get burnt out. Like I said earlier, your hobby, your career, your family. If one of those has a problem, try and work it out to make sure the hobby pillar kind of is put on hold for a little bit, but not enough that you forget about it. Like I said, with exercise, put the elliptical in your room. Or like with drawing, instead of going out getting the paints and taking like an art class or something, just draw on a whiteboard at home. Or if you love fishing, get a fish tank in your house. I don't know. But just don't ever feel discouraged to do something you love because of something that's getting in the way. That's what I'm saying. So dealing with burnout is pretty easy to do, but it's kind of hard to get out of. Once you get trapped in there, I understand that it is hard to break out of. And yes, this podcast has been mostly a joke today. I have just been kind of joking around, telling the story a little Timmy, but I am serious when I say that there's always ways to help yourself out. There's always ways to make sure that you are that you remain on top of your own pack, and just make sure that you be you do you. If you ever dealt with burnout, please let me know in the comment section down below, and we'll have a very detailed discussion about it. And that's burnout right there. So I'm coming back from burnout, and I'm really enjoying myself. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of the podcast. I really do appreciate it. I know this episode is kind of short, but it's okay, because I did get to talk for a little bit. If you guys have ever dealt with burnout, let me know. We'll have a very detailed discussion about this. Just know that you're never alone in any situation. Just like I've said time and time again, I'm here for y'all. So if you ever have any problems, just come to me. We'll talk about it. We'll have a very detailed discussion. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching this episode, and I will see you guys in the next episode of the SMCast. Thank you guys, and I'll see you next time. Stay shrinky. Bye. Yeet.